Welcome to Around the Bases, the pop culture and sports podcast with your host,
Charlie Seymour.
And I'm Tim Sternberg. And this week we are doing a reality roundup. We're rounding up those reality shows into one tight little package. And of course, we are talking baseball and the Mets and the Cubs specifically right here. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Really, like not even a welcome? You're just shoving that Cubs hat in my face? Really?
Oh, I was just moving it out of the frame. I'm sorry. That was an accident.
Okay, all right.
Hey, you know what? No matter what, we're going
go.
away with a 4-game split at worst on the road. So that's a
You
win.
are. You are. I think 2 games is enough for the Cubbies.
Hey, but you got your local product, Cubs young prospect pitching
Oh,
tomorrow. You got to want him to do
you,
well.
yeah, the guy from Long Island. Yeah, Long Island, New York. I
He's
want
your
him
local. He's your local guy.
to.
Plus, we took him from the Phillies. I mean, come on.
That's a positive, but I want him to do well. But as long as the Mets score more runs, I'm good with it. I'm good with it. We could, come on. Haven't you won enough games from us at Citi Field of all places? Really, like it's
Hey,
a
here's the
precursor.
connection. Here's a guy who you'll remember who also, I'm pretty positive, pitched for the Mets at least once or twice.
Oh,
But the guy the Cubs traded to get Ben Brown, rental reliever, closer slash eighth inning, seventh inning guy, the older he gets. Has a pretty solid career.
ooh,
D-Rob, David Robertson.
oh,
He's solid.
oh boy, he is.
2 months of him for Ben Brown. So that was another nice trade for the Cubs that year.
Speaking of rentals, I think of Javi Baez every time I see Pete Armstrong out, and he covering the whole entire freaking field for the
And
Cubs.
with the only RBI of the game tonight.
Dude, I'm unbelievable. Yeah, let's talk about, so we're taping this on Wednesday. The game ended a couple like an hour ago or so. There was one run that separated the Cubs and the Mets tonight. And honestly, I don't understand what the crying was. It should have been more than one run. And if we're basing the end of the game on whether or not there was a sufficient blockage or not blockage at the plate, come on. No, and even as a Mets fan, we got to do better than that. Come on.
I can respect that take as a Mets fan. You know, most of them are out there crying, saying,
I know.
"Mm."
I was just on X. So listen, if you're gonna be a real true kind of fan, you have to respect game, but you also have to call it as you see it too. I mean, you gotta, a little tough love doesn't hurt on a team. I love my Mets, don't get me wrong, but come on.
And that call was going to stand either way. If they called him safe, it was going to stay safe, you know?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. I listen, I'm not upset. I'm upset that we lost. I'm not upset about the way it happened. We could have scored more runs, quite frankly. And my guy Pete up there, like with the hands, like, what, dude? I'm sorry,
yeah,
but
he's in a mini slump. He can keep that up for one more day and then he can get red hot. And speaking of your guy Pete, right before the Cubs series, he hit his 200th home run. I don't know if the even more cool part about that was fourth fastest in Major League history. That's impressive.
unbelievable. Like
That's your guy. That's your guy.
He is my guy. I have a huge Pete Alonso collection. I could again, tough love. I can say what I say, but I love Pete Alonso. Listen, his rookie year was 2019. We're in 2024, and he's already at 200 home runs. That's
And
pretty solid.
2020 was a 60-game season, so he's 100 games
Exactly.
short too.
Exactly. Like, hello, like I can't be upset. Good for him, because basically what he's doing right now is raising his stock with ownership when he's in a contract negotiation at the end of the season. So, yeah, a perfect plus for him. And speaking of perfect pluses, I am so excited about last week's episode. I must say thank you once again to Stephanie from the floor, who gave us the most amazing insights into the show. She's so fascinating.
That was honestly, it was so cool hearing some of the behind the scenes stuff. And if you've been living under a rock somehow and still have not seen The Floor, you can stream it on Hulu. You should do it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
The
fun.
Floor is streaming on Hulu. I agree. And We Are Family is also streaming on Hulu. No, we don't get residuals when you watch the show. So, I mean, it's fun to watch and if she's yeah, and all that fun stuff. And but yeah, the Floor is worth the watch and they're casting for season 2. So, if you're really into trivia and game shows and you are interested, check out social media. Their post on the Floor. They're not calling it the Floor right now. They're a secretive hush hush about what show it is, but they're kind of telling you what it is. Check out those posts. And if you don't know, message either Charlie or myself and we'll get you the info for that. And again, we don't get paid by the casting people to promote the casting of that, but it's worth a shot if you're into trivia, definitely. Thank you again, Stephanie, for joining us. Charlie and I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
it was great.
Yeah. Speaking of, so we're talking about the Mets a little bit and how Pete was in a little bit of a slump, right?
Yep,
Right.
yep,
Yeah,
yeah, he
I'm warming
was.
up for a transition. Speaking of major slumps, Aaron, Deal or
Ooh,
No Deal Island.
ooh, that was a tough one.
Dude, what in the
It
world?
seemed like he was ready to finally make the big decision and turn on Rob. It seemed like it.
Do you think he really was going to do that? Do you think he was going to turn on Rob?
Man, I've gone back and forth with that. They've showed you where the moment where he said he needed to do it. Then they cut you the little teaser of, oh well, I've been with him from the beginning. I know that he went on Rob's after show and said he could never do it. But I'll tell you what, it seemed like in the moment he realized he was playing a game for a lot of money, and the only real chance he had, well, and the conversation he had with what's her name, she came to
Stephanie?
him. No, the
Jordan?
short, no,
Oh, Amy. Amy.
Amy. The conversation he
Usually
had
I
with
don't remember this stuff. This is cool.
the
Okay, yay.
conversation he had with Amy, I think he was being real. I think he realized that she was his best chance to, if they get down to the final two and you need to beat someone to be the person to play, that's when you need to, you need to have the less threats still left. I think he was going to do it. He can say what he wants now because it didn't come to it and it didn't happen. But let's say the case was switched and he won. I think he'd have a tough time not eliminating Rob there. And it'd be hard to fault him. And I even think Rob himself knew it and even said it, eventually at some point it might happen. And if he does it, it's good gameplay and he'd respect it. But
So yeah, I agree with you actually. I think also he probably would have eliminated Rob. That's kind of my thinking. My thing is a couple things I wanted to talk about with that. First of all, it doesn't hurt him now to say no, I would have never done that because he has a relationship, a good relationship with Rob. And so why would he say he would eliminate him at this point and hurt that kind of friendship that they formed or bromance as they're
mm-hmm.
calling it on the media? My thing is this. I'm thinking about it, and my mom is a big fan of the show. I talk strategy with her. She loves watching this too. She does not like Stephanie or Amy. Neither do I. I'm not rooting for them. I'm rooting for Jordan or Rob to take it all.
Yeah, me
My
too.
thing is
Jordan or Rob.
this. If Aaron eliminated Rob, he's basically eliminating a number. Like Stephanie and Amy were never going to take him with
I
them.
I think Amy was strongly considering it in that
You think?
conversation. I think she was lying to Rob, but not to Aaron, because I think she knows she probably has the best chance to beat Aaron at the end too. I
She's
mean,
so her character, not her in person, because we know reality shows and real
she
people are different. But on
okay,
the show,
so
she's slimy as heck.
in that episode where she took the high case with the least power, but it also came with a personal offer, did she get to keep that?
Yes,
So like she's in the driver's
she's
seat already.
dude. She has 75 grand already,
And
or
she's playing
was
well, yeah. So that's what it
I?
was, 75. And she's
I
playing with
told
house
you know.
money.
For those of you who don't know, the listeners, Charlie and I, when watching these shows, were texting each other back and forth, and I was telling Charlie, I would have taken that 75 grand in a heartbeat if that was me.
Yeah,
Would
and
you?
it was perfect for her because she was second, and Rob was first, who only wanted his safety. So she had the first crack at it.
And Aaron, I mean, I don't know. I'm still confused at why he took the case that he took.
See, that is the other reasoning why I think he was
Yeah,
ready to vote Rob, because if he
yeah.
wasn't, he wouldn't have. There was no upside to taking the case that he took.
I think
All
you're
it did
right.
was give a little bit more power to the last two who got to go because there were better cases left.
I'll tell
So,
you, the drama saves the show for me. Like, so there was, rumblings at the beginning of the season how it kind of is dull, it's a dud. I like the show a lot, and I think partly because of the casting and because of the drama between the contestants, it's good. And apparently, from Aaron said on Rob's podcast, it didn't even show a conversation he had with Stephanie, which was right before that banker game. That was pretty rough. I mean, they were at each other. So I think Stephanie at that point was thinking, and I think they probably didn't air it because they wanted everyone to think that he was going to get rid of Rob. But Stephanie thought that he would get rid of her. So who knows? Like, but it's a good show. I wish
see, and then
the
look at
bank.
in that exact example you just gave, look at the position Amy just put herself in.
I
75 in her pocket, and she was the only one that probably truly felt she was not in danger.
Yeah. Well, Jordan too. I don't think Jordan thinks she's in danger at this point. I think there are bigger
Yeah.
fish to
She
fry.
yeah, you're probably right about that, but the 75 versus the 0.
Can we talk about the bankers round for a second? I'm so perplexed by it because it ends up being a coin flip most of the time. I mean, now granted the ending this week was not so much of a coin flip. It was 2 to 3, 2/3 of a chance or whatever. But when your offer is in that ballpark, I think they really need to I know it's deal or no deal, and that's like the primary focus of the game, but I really hope they rethink the way that is whole processed and come up with something different because it's not exciting TV to see they literally play a whole round of deal or no deal with it really not mattering but to add money to the bank. And at the
Until
end,
the
it's a
end one.
50-50, right? And then
Right.
even then, we don't know yet exactly how that's going to play out. They're not just going to give them $10 million or whatever it is at the
Right,
end,
they're going to play the game for that.
right? But are there going to be a dollar case? And at the end, could it be that the person wins a dollar? That's the part that's a little,
Right.
yeah,
Unless
yeah,
unless it's truly that's the prize pool and whoever's the last one standing gets that money, which is a possibility. Maybe the
very
final two
possible.
play head to head in a game to be the
Interesting.
final person, and then the amount they win is irrelevant. They win the overall number by winning.
I recall something being mentioned that this is the last time that you're gonna be alone. I don't know. Like, there's something. I don't
There,
know
yeah,
where they're
and
at.
there's no way you could build up this hype over this much money and then they end up with the 1 cent case. Like they couldn't do that.
Can you
There's
imagine?
no, they couldn't. No one would.
Congratulations,
They
you
would
get your
lose.
stipend.
They would lose their base for any future deal or no deal anything.
Ooh,
Like
ooh.
people would come out with the pitchforks.
So there has to be some kind of guarantee. I'm really
I'm thinking who
interested
the
to see
last
how
one
this goes.
standing gets the big number. That's what makes the most sense
You
because they
would
keep
hope.
building. They keep building up this pot as a
See,
collective group
the
for
thing is,
one person.
Joe keeps saying you have a chance to win it. That's the thing that keeps like throwing me off.
So that's why I think they play the game. If they win it, they get that number, which is a chance. And if they don't, who knows though?
Shit, any day I take a chance to win $10 million.
And they're still got what, another round or two to add to it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
I
they're only
mean,
going up, so it's
yeah.
probably going to be closer to
I think 15 to
15,
20 mil.
20. Yeah,
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's going to be some monster cases in the next episode. I think they're about 3 episodes out from the end, or 2 or 3. So we'll see. I mean, it's real exciting.
because they're down
Uh,
to 4 players now, right? Or five, four, four.
you know what's crazy? How did Boston Rob make it to the final four?
The
This guy is
the
amazing.
yeah,
Credit, props to Boston Rob. I
we
mean,
called this around week 9 or 10 when there
we
were 9 or
did.
10 left.
We did. We said, I remember the conversation. We're like, if they don't get him out, they're doomed. And Yeah, and now Aaron's not there, so Rob is really going to be gunning for Stephanie or Amy. I say it all depends on who has control next week, and that's another thing about this show. You could be having the greatest game unless you get immunity. It's a coin like if Amy gets to the end and beats the banker, oh bye bye. It's so like quick shot. I think there needs to be kind of a vote or so, I don't know. Like it's so weird the way that
Yeah.
works. I don't know. But yeah, or even have more interesting things in the cases, like a vote to eliminate or something where it's entice. I don't know.
Some sort of advantage.
Yeah, call me NBC. I'll help you.
Speaking of islands and advantages, how
Ooh,
about
with the
Survivor?
transition. Oh, dude, I just watched it. Oh my.
Now, before we say anything, this is Wednesday, May 1st.
Yeah,
This is
spoiler alert.
tonight's episode. Tonight's episode. So if you watch Survivor and you haven't watched went this most recent episode, maybe fast forward for like 2 minutes or
Fast
3.
forward or pause and then yeah, come back to our podcast. That's fine, but don't not come back to our podcast.
No,
But
just
yeah,
just fast forward it
fast fast forward. I'll do
or
this.
you
How
can
about
do
this? I'll
or
do
you
this
can
when
do
we're
the
done with
Billy Madison.
Survivor.
La 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 la. Can't hear you. La la. La.
All right,
Okay,
let's
we
get
have to
into it.
talk
People
about
have
it.
enough of a spoiler alert. All right, you start. You're dying to start. I know you are. Go.
I don't. Wow. Well,
He's
I don't
like, I don't
think
know where to
did we get to
start.
talk about last week's episode?
No, we
So
have to
okay.
talk
So last week's
Because
episode.
Stephanie didn't watch it, and we didn't want to spoil her.
That's
So
right. That's right. Okay. So we have two back-to-back big
we'll
big
start with
blind
last
sides.
week's episode.
Last week's episode first. Okay. First of all, how do you I know you always say trust your gut, go with your original thinking, but how are you on camera saying I'm going to tribal and I'm 100% going to play my idol? And then how do you end up going home? That's what I would like to know.
Is it
So, do you know
so
what 100% means? Because that leaves zero room for error.
seriously? Like 100% means it's not
That was the quote.
99.9.
Right.
Yeah,
It's not like things could change.
he said
Oh,
I'm 100% using this idol.
so what happened?
Is it that? Listen, is it valuable in your pocket once you go to the Ponderosa?
Maybe as an eBay item, you'd know that better than me. But he probably doesn't want to
I
get
don't
rid
even
of
think
that.
production even lets you keep it. I don't know. Like,
My guess is if it's in his pocket, he's not giving it back if he doesn't have to. I feel
what
like I've
what a
seen other
reminder of
Survivor
my
people with
loser.
things. Yeah,
It's my
right.
reminder
A
of my
token
loser.
of if I ever get back on there.
Oh,
And
oh. Maybe he'll think about it when he's
man,
at
I was
Applebee's.
I
Oh
was
wait, that's
rooting for
next
him
week's
the
episode.
most. He was dominating. He was playing such a great game. Oh
So for
man, I
those of
don't
you
know.
who don't know, we are talking about because we haven't mentioned his name yet.
Oh, I said Hunter. I
Hunter.
said
Oh, you
Hunter.
did? Okay.
Yeah, I said Hunter.
I'm sorry, buddy.
No,
I
it's
didn't hear
okay.
you. We're talking about Hunter. What the heck? Like, why? Like, yeah. Here's the thing, Charlie. You know, if he used that idol, he was gonna gun for another one in the next week episode anyway.
Right. Or have
So
another great
what?
chance to win immunity.
Yeah, he would have that the challenge, this week's challenge, he would have won. I
It,
think.
it would have been tough for him to not win that.
Yeah, like
Which leads us to tonight's. I mean, so everything that just happened, you have this huge blindside at tribal, okay? How can you see one of the worst things happen in front of your own eyes and then you let that same thing happen to you? To me, that's the worst mistake. You just watch consecutive back-to-back blindsides. Everything has gone crazy. You've said people know this. I don't want that. You said you were going to use it the week before. Oh, you already snuck away once. You've got to use it.
she should have had the bourbon burger.
Oh man, the whole bourbon burger.
Wait, wait,
Okay,
wait.
that
Can we
was
rewind real quick? So, all right. First of all, Tiffany had an idol and she didn't use it. Second week in a row. What the heck?
and she's not even the biggest villain of the episode. Is that
No,
fair?
no, she is not. She is absolutely not. Like,
Ooh.
Wait, well, there's so much to unpack here. Tiffany, like, just you, like, what? I was screaming at my TV. What? I think I texted you in capital
As
letters. I'm
soon
like,
as it cut to
what the
her
heck?
and she like leaned,
Did you see her
it's like,
face
and she's
change
like,
as the votes
and then it's like, no,
when
keep
they
reaching
got
in your
to
pocket and pull it out and say you want to use it.
when Jeff got to like the third Tiffany when he was pulling in her face changed like mm, mm.
And the people that voted for Q's face too when they realized what was
Oh
happening.
yeah, Ben and Charlie and oh yeah, oh yeah, you knew
Um,
who.
I don't remember exactly all the votes at the end. I always like to watch it, but
Oh, I
I
didn't
think
watch it.
Charlie might have been in on the vote.
Oh, he was
I think he
okay.
was in on the vote.
But man, dude, like what the heck? And
I think him and Maria were the two swing votes.
so mm, so mm, so we know that's not, listen, you and I are talking about Survivor. That's not even the most exciting part of the episode. She didn't use the idol, but no, let's rewind this. See the remember the challenge and all right, let's rewind it. Let's go to the reward challenge. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
So let's start the reward challenge. So there in the reward challenge, they have this really pretty intense obstacle course, right? And I'm looking at it like there's no freaking way I would have ever been able after 18 days to no food to do this. They're literally having to like these sandbags and they're crawling under this net and the net is not just crawling under, the net is so tight that you're like so close to the sand beneath you, it's really impossible. And so they have to make it through this obstacle course, and then you have to throw this, unpack the sandbags. You're throwing them through the net, blah blah blah. I'm saying it out of order, and then you have to throw this sandbag on top of this giant pole. And so they're trying, and they get close, and the drama's kind of out, and eventually Q,
By the end of it, every single person is tossing at the end, so anyone could
yeah,
have won.
100%. Q throws it up and finally lands it. Wins reward. Reward is
The biggest reward of the season. How many times did
the
Jeff say the biggest reward of the season? Like five.
biggest because when you are starving, if someone offers you a very high calorie Applebee's meal, you're gonna salivate. You're gonna want it. That bourbon burger, that beautiful
The
bourbon
bourbon
burger.
burger.
Yeah, Applebee's. Call us.
If you
Sponsor
were
on
playing
a
a
basis.
drinking game during Survivor and every time they said bourbon burger you had to drink, you probably wouldn't have seen Tribal.
I would have been drunk. I would have been done. I would have been
You
toast. I
would
would have
not
been
have made it to Tribal.
100%. Dude, the amount of time that
They
bourbon
said it so many
burger
times it broke your brain.
broke my brain. So,
Bourbon burger broke brain.
so, so let's talk about this. So, Liz, oh, you poor soul. Liz. Liz is hungry. Okay. And I don't laugh about that. Listen, Liz has allergies. Liz has, but granted, she went on Survivor knowing this, right? She knew. And, she has allergies. So she angry. She's hangry. Hangry is a good word for it, I
That's a
think.
good word for it.
Um, but let's little morsel. Q, she voted for him to leave in the Hunter
The night
episode
before.
the night before. This
So this
is
is
new
the
Survivor.
next
So
day.
it's a night, right? It's no longer like 3 days later. This is yesterday, right?
Not even
And
24 hours. It was the evening and this is daytime.
so Jeff Probst, Jeff loves to dig in that drama. Jeff is a great host for that reason and many more. Um, Jeff says, "Oh, Q, you can take anyone you want on this reward." So he goes, "Oh, I'm gonna take my old tribe mates here, Tiffany
But
and
before he even picks one, Liz
oh,
starts begging.
listen, this is Liz. She's like having a moment, like she's like having a moment, and she's she's just her stomach is going feed me, like she's hungry, right? And
She turned green and into the Hulk.
so she's hangry, like you and I both watch a lot of reality shows. I don't think I have ever, in all Big Brother,
No, that's
Survivor, Amazing Race,
that's gotta be that's gotta be number one.
I have never seen such a temper tantrum in my life.
It was
And you're
something.
like, because you were a little ahead, you're like, Tim, wait until you see. I'm like, no, what, and something. I'm like, oh my god. So, all right, let's finish the.
They're
So
lucky there was no glass around because that one shriek, I'm pretty sure would have shattered glass.
100%. She killed a couple of birds in another tree, probably. But no, just so he picks Tiffany, he picks this trimix, and then finally, Jeff is like, "You have one
One
more
final
person,
person.
one person." She, she's like, "Please, I'm begging. I haven't eaten anything. I'm hungry." So he goes, I have to go with the person who has consoled me, who actually, when I was alone and, feeling down, and this happened, this person kind of came to me and kind of tried to make me feel good about myself. And they did. It's a game, it's a social game. And so I'm going to pick Maria. Liz is starting to build. So, Jeff, being the brilliant host that he is, Liz, do you feel comfortable talking about your
Sharing your
feelings?
feelings
Sharing your
about this.
feelings?
If you've ever seen the movie Dumb and Dumber, where they say, you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? And then he screams at the top of his lungs for like 10 seconds. It was like that.
Charlie's legit like, I don't want to hear that again. I don't want to hear it again. But she literally screamed at the top of her lungs. You don't, you don't. I don't even remember what she said. It was so loud and crazy. Like something along the lines of, "You are inconsiderate. You don't think about me. Blah, blah, blah. I haven't eaten." And she's really upset, right? And so she's done, right? He goes, "Well, you did vote to eliminate me or vote me out yesterday." And she turns to Jeff. She goes, "Okay, I'm done." Oh my god,
So
that is
he's not wrong. She did vote him out the night before. He also probably didn't need to set it up with, well, Liz likes the Applebee's bourbon burger, and there's a bourbon burger there, and it would be
Oh,
great
there's
for her to
more. We're
have
gonna
it.
talk about it in a
But
second. There's so much more to the story.
there's so much more
So much more, and I want to talk about it because
because
it's that
they
good.
have to then fast forward to them going to the sanctuary and getting the reward.
Go ahead, you tell that part, dude. This
So
is
they start. It's like an Applebee's meal. They come out, you get all your appetizers.
Applebee's in the jungle, right?
They're getting a little bit of everything. So I mean, they've stuffed their faces like a Thanksgiving meal. I mean, I'm talking 5, 6 rounds of food. Then comes the bourbon burger, which is what she was screaming about and wanting. But all of them had eaten so much that they were so full that they could not take a bite out of said
Oh
bourbon
my
burger.
lord.
But then my favorite part, truly, and I mean this, for editing Emmy submission, this needs to be Survivor's tape of the year because they literally, after they talk about how no one got to eat a bite of it because they were so full, it shows you a full on zoomed in close up of the bourbon burger,
Uneaten.
uneaten, untouched, perfect condition. And then it slowly fades out into Liz's face. When I tell you, I cackled and howled over that edit. That person needs to be, that's like the Mona Lisa of reality TV show editing right there.
So good, Survivor
That
editors.
needs to be up for their editing Emmy this year.
Oh
That
my
was
god.
that was unreal funny.
So this dude, I absolutely agree. I bawled. Like it was so funny.
I I cackled.
And then, right?
Then they come back from their overnight
Oh, wait.
extravaganza.
Let me say real quick before you go there. During this edit, that applause, I agree, Survivor edit is unbelievable. They post series, obviously, because we know TV production, like, hey Liz, or email her or whatever. Can you kind of share a couple of photos with us of you and your daughter and Applebee's? That would be really kind of cool to put in the episode. So literally for like 2 minutes, they have Liz doing a confessional,
It's like a
basically
slow
saying,
montage.
"Oh, my daughter and I just love Applebee's. We just, we go there all the time." And they're showing literally a picture of her in an Applebee's with her kid. It is like when I tell you pure comedy gold, and the fact that Applebee's got more promotion than they probably ever bargained for or wanted. Oh my God. So fast forward,
Now,
go
okay,
for it.
this was an overnight. This was an overnight. Not only did they get to eat, but they got to sleep and they'll have little cots, beds, whatever, much better than normal. So this was an overnight extravaganza. But they're coming back and they're talking about it and oh, it was great. We had this and we had this and we had that. Now keep in mind, at the reward, she specifically mentioned the bourbon burger was something that she got, right? Then it cuts to Tiffany saying, "Oh yeah," and then the bourbon burger came out, and we were all so full, none of us could touch a bite of it. That if
If
you
looks could kill,
she just committed mass homicide,
the look on Liz's face was like this.
and then it cuts to
I'm
her
showing like
confessional
a,
with "Read the Room." Oh
oh
man, that
my
was
God.
this was right after the unbelievable editing of the burger,
I
pristine,
will bet
untouched
a
into her.
million bucks. Two things are going to happen at the finale. First of all, they're absolutely going to show this meltdown at Tribal and they're going to ask her about it again. That's one thing. Second, Jeff is going to come out with a plate of a burger. You know that there's going to be a bourbon burger given to Liz at that finale.
Will it even make it to the finale? They might if she ends up in the jury, it might be waiting for her the next time she gets there.
Can you imagine she goes to the jury and she's like chomping down on
If she
bourbon burger?
doesn't get the equivalent of like an NIL deal with the Applebee's for this burger, or at least like a lifetime Applebee's diner
I'm
card,
Liz and I love the bourbon burger. Find me at Applebee's. Yes.
and then it's gonna be her screaming, "This is what happens when I don't get my bourbon burger."
Oh my God. So, like, if you want a bourbon burger, you better get yourself a bourbon burger or you might have a breakdown. It show that.
Don't get
Oh,
hangry. Come in for a bourbon burger.
are you surviving on nothing but piddlings? Come in for a bourbon burger today at Applebee's, where you're here, your family, or whatever.
And then another thing I saw on I don't like to call it X. Another thing I saw on Twitter
I like calling it
was
Twitter too.
another thing that I loved on Twitter that I'll share is the still shot of Jeff talking about casting for Survivor right
Oh,
after Liz had her
yes.
meltdown, and it said Liz has a full blown meltdown, and Jeff was like, "This is the perfect time to film a plug."
And
So
then
good.
Jeff comes on and he goes, "Well, Survivor's tough.
Survivor's tough, so you want to come play?
Come
That
play.
was another
You
another
won't get
top notch
Applebee's.
edit.
You won't get your bourbon burger." And then so fast forward to the immunity challenges. One more thing I want to kind of point out. So in the immunity challenge, Jeff offers them if they want to step out. First, he offers like the group, okay, if four of you step out, we'll give you enough rice to last the rest of the season. And nobody wants to do that. Everyone's competitive. And so he then says, "Oh, if you individually want to, step out, you can have your own individual portion of rice." And so Liz says, "Guys, you won't hate me here, will you?" And they go, "No, no, go get your rice." So she gets the rice, she gives up, and she's literally, I don't know if you caught this, Shirley. She's literally
Dancing.
sitting on the bench with shaking it like a like
Yeah.
a maraca. Like, what in the world is wrong with you, lady? These are hungry people. Some of them are not hungry. They just had bourbon burger, or they had the bourbon burger in front of them. But what the heck? If for a social game,
And that one other thing that really made me laugh too was um in the hangover when Zach Galifianakis' character goes to play poker, it's the
oh
meme that people
yes,
use with all the math going through his head. Well, someone
yes.
someone used that and wrote, to be clear, Liz can't eat anything natural on the island because of allergies, but she can eat Applebee's with the
I
math going
know.
around.
Because
Like,
you no, because Applebee's doesn't have preservatives or anything like that in that food.
I thought that was pretty funny too. Poor Liz. Kind
Oh,
of.
but you know what?
Kind of.
When you sign up for a show, you sign up for it all.
And this one's kind of mean about Applebee's. Last one I'll share,
Oh
but you'll
no,
get a
yeah,
kick out
please.
of it. Someone said, Jeff, the Applebee's chef is back there waiting for you. And then it says the Applebee's chef, and it's a picture of a microwave.
But that's true though.
Uh, it was such a great episode tonight. Honestly, it was
Oh,
fantastic.
it was I don't know how any future episode really could top it. And it really wasn't even about who cared if I mean you wanted Tiffany to use the idol, but my God.
And the nice thing for Tiffany is she made one of the worst mistakes you could make. 2 weeks in a row after it happened in front of her own eyes, and it might get overshadowed.
Oh, oh, I don't know what to say, but I am thrilled that you talked me into going back to watch Survivor this season.
I'm glad the
I've
season's
been missing
delivering.
it. It's so
Glad
much
there's been some
delivering,
great game, actual like people are playing the game. Back to back major blindsides is big.
and I
And
can't
then to
wait
have it
for
happen a third time, twice with people idle in your pockets. Come on.
it's coming to the towards the end, and
It's
you
up
know
for
what?
grabs. I'm telling you, anyone could win right now. It's up for
It
grabs.
remember what I said weeks and weeks ago about Ben and Shirley,
Yeah, they're
and they're
both
still
they're
there.
and they're
They're
both not even. Have you heard a single one of them throw their name out the last few weeks?
no, and Ben is kind of weakened anyway, so he's really not a
Maria
threat.
too. For put Maria in that group as
Maria
well.
is on fire. I am rooting for her, kind of. You know, I want her to. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't. Q doesn't have a chance in heaven to win. We know this. There's no way.
See, here's the thing though. The competition's thinning, and if it's the physical things, he's gonna have a pretty nice advantage. I'm not saying it's works that way every time, but he's a big physical threat. They know it too, which is why I think they know they can't keep waiting around. I think this coming week is the week they finally decide we need to get Q out. But what if he wins immunity? Then it
Good
goes on
point.
another week. So, it's getting low where weird things can happen.
Good point. Definitely. We'll see. It's gonna be interesting for sure. You make it. You always make good points.
When was the last season you watched before this one? It's been a while, right?
Ooh.
So I don't know if you
I'd
are
like to
aware of
say
this.
heroes versus villains, maybe.
I don't know if you're aware of this now, but now as soon as you get basically it gets down to the final four, and the person that wins picks one person to sit next to them, then the other two have a fire off. So you
Oh, I
really only
didn't
need
know that.
yes. So now it's down to all you have to do is make the final four, really, not the final three.
And as long as you
Because
make it with someone who is in your alliance.
and it doesn't even matter if you make the final four, if you're put up for fire, you just have to beat the other person in fire. Then you're in the
Wow.
final three. Then it comes down, and
So
then you have the
you're right.
fire win on your resume. So imagine it in Q's situation, okay? This week is they want to take another shot at him. He wins immunity. Now he's down to the final six. He's only 2 votes away from making it. So
So
you win immunity one more time, and then maybe one other time someone else wants to blindside another person. You only need one extra vote.
it's a
So
toss up at that
it
point.
this week they really need to get Q out if they want to feel good about it. Because if he gets down to final six, and he's going up against people half his size and it's a
And he
physical
could win.
challenge and he could
Right.
win.
Yeah.
So
Good point. Oh,
then if he let's say that does happen, he wins fire, he can then pitch, okay, I was on the bottom and you guys wanted to be out for 6 weeks in a row and you couldn't get me out. Then I had to win fire. Like it'll be interesting how people then take that. So at the same time, he has to be liked. So he's got to walk a fine line. But if he can
yeah.
kind
He's
of
got to get those votes still
rework
on
some
the
of the
jury.
rework some of the relationships with the remaining people before that.
Although I think he's good with like Hunter. I think he's good with some people on that jury.
Yeah.
Um,
And some of the
so
people might respect the fact that everybody wanted him out for weeks and here he still is.
yeah, and we've seen that many times in Survivor that when it comes down to the vote, that's what gets the vote is that respect of game, and game does recognize game, and I think when you're on Big Brother, Survivor, or whatever, when you're at the point of voting for that person, and you want the best person to win because they beat you, right? And
Yeah,
there's
see,
that
that's how
element.
I am. If you're on one of these games and you're a gamer, you should vote for the person that should win who played the best.
I
It's
agree
not
with you. Take the emotions out.
take the emotions out, and if someone played a better game than you, they played a better game than you and they deserve the vote. I
Good
don't
point.
like the seasons where someone's all petty that, oh, they voted me out and then I'm voting for this person instead. That drives me nuts.
Yeah, I agree. That happens a lot on Big Brother, especially. I think the emotions are more so on there because it's such a longer season, longer. It's like the baseball season in reality terms,
And
you
you're
know, it's so
confined
long.
together in that house. There's
Yeah.
nowhere to go. On the island, people go on day long excursions. They go looking for idols and stuff. You can get away for a little while. That's another difference
I
too.
mean, your biggest escape is going to the head of household room, and that's if you have
And
control.
people
And
are still knocking on your door all the time to come to
so,
talk.
speaking of Big Brother, they're in their final 2 weeks of casting for this coming season, so that is coming up
Is
soon.
that starts in the summer, doesn't it?
Yeah, it starts at the end of next month, I think, or the beginning of July. Yeah, and they're gonna have last season it was a little delayed into August because of the writer strike, but I think they're gonna go with a regular season this year, and I'm excited. I we'll see what happens. But speaking of Big Brother ish, now I'll preface this. I am not going to spoil the newly dropped episodes of The Circle because you have not seen it yet. I have. I binge watched that stuff. It's gonna be good. You'll like it. But let's talk about up
The
until where
first
you
eight, the
watched.
first eight, the
Yeah, the
first two
first eight.
Wednesdays.
First of all, The Circle. One of my favorite one of my favorite streaming shows, right? Up until this season. I will say my opinion. It at least the first 8 episodes. What if we had? What if we had two eliminations in 8 episodes?
And one
How
of
about?
them was an AI.
Yeah. What is going on here? Like, am I misremembering this
No,
when
you're
Circle
not. My biggest gripe was the first 4 episodes dropped, and not one person it cliffhanged it. I mean, we knew it was coming, but by like
in episode
early,
five?
late 3, early 4, it's like, are they really not going to eliminate a single person in the first 4 episodes?
I don't understand that.
Yeah,
Like,
that was I was
is
I
it
wasn't
is it
too.
me or the earlier seasons of the Circle? They would eliminate like every other episode. They would have an elimination. Wasn't it kind of like that? Maybe
I
every
I
third.
we'd probably have to go back and check, but I thought for sure that it wasn't that slow.
And they constantly were almost in the beginning of the first 8 episodes. They would just put new characters in, or they would have eliminations, and then they would like team up characters, and they would play. They had Brett from Big Brother, and they would play against each other, and that
Yeah.
was interesting to me.
Or they
This
have
the
Lance Bass's assistant.
Yes, I love that. But the biggest twist this season was to have an AI that they basically gave up like right away. Like it just
That
didn't
yeah,
last.
so when they finally voted out the one person, then they voted who's the most human, who's the least. So they voted out the least human. But then it was just okay, the AI person, it would have been so much better if hey, the AI person is still out there. And they should
I
have had
think the
to figure
paranoia,
it out.
right?
Yeah,
The
definitely.
paranoia. I still like it very much. I will say that
You said it
without
picked up between
spoiling,
9 and 12.
it does. It really does. 9, 10, 11, and 12 are much better episodes. There's a lot more drama, which we all love on these shows. So yeah, it does pick up, but overall I'm disappointed with the season and I was looking forward to it so much. So we'll see how it kind of ends.
Well, if it's if
But
it's on if it's on a trajectory up, maybe it'll end strong. You never know.
yeah, I think it will. The way it's looking, it's so hard for me not to say anything, so I won't say anything else. But we will, Charlie and I will talk about it next week because what we'll do is we'll delay the recording of this broadcast until after we've both watched the finale, so
And
we
if the
can talk
finale is
about it.
only one episode, that
It'll
it's
be
not like you
easy.
have to watch 4 straight of them before. So I
It
think we
is
should be
only
able to
one
do that.
episode, and I must say I do love. I forgot her name, the host, Michelle Boutreau. I love
If
her.
Yeah, she's
She's so
hilarious.
funny, like
So
so
many
good.
hilarious jokes when they say something stupid. That's my favorite part by far is her
The way she has,
little
well, honey. She just kind of
her little quips are great.
that's the best. I love it. I love her. I'm sad that we don't really get
I
to see
can't
her until
remember
the
which one it
finale.
was, but one of the things she said on 6 or 7, I laughed really hard at. I can't remember what it
She
was.
does say a couple of things in 9 through 12 that are pretty funny, I must say. So you'll
I'll try
see.
to keep a running tally of them
Yeah,
for
yeah.
those. Um, well, I have not quite the normal unboxing, but I have a small little
Ooh,
pop culture type. So this one's more pop culture, which means you know
ooh,
what it
even
is.
better.
It's a
I do.
Funko. It's a Funko.
Oh, Funko Pop. Yeah,
Okay.
I love it. Okay.
And I believe I'm pretty sure that you're a fan of this television show from the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and still going strong currently. Maybe the most shows of any animated show.
Oh, I
Maybe
think
even I can see it in the background of your.
I think I know what show did it maybe start in the 80s?
I believe it did. I believe it even aired on the Tracy Ullman show.
Must oh
That or
Trace. It
that
has to be The
it's
Simpsons
The
because
Simpsons.
it started on
Tim
a.
is pointing to
I
a
am pointing to
hand
a
drawn
cell.
picture of Homer, Bart, and Lisa.
There we are from Treehouse of Horrors.
Well,
Very
this one is
nice.
not Treehouse of Horrors, but I have a
Okay,
Simpsons Funko Pop here. I want to
I
see
love it.
if you can figure it out which one it is. Okay,
Okay.
this is an earlier season episode. Homer gets his likeness and image and identity used without his knowledge for a product. Do you happen to remember what it is?
I don't.
They end up visiting this country because of it. Would it help if I told you? I have some friends who are big Simpsons fans. They're going to get it as soon as I
They're
give this
much
to
bigger
them.
than I am.
Would it help
It
if I told you that it was a dishwashing
was a
cleaner?
soap.
It was a soap, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah, I do remember that.
it was cleaning detergent or cleaning,
Yeah. Yeah, I the first picture I had in my head and I wasn't sure it was right was like a bar of soap or
and it
something.
looks like Homer's face, but then when you see the
Yes.
actual commercial, it's like three separate objects that they morph into one that turns into Homer's face.
Oh, I gotta see this Funko.
It
Come
is.
on.
Do you remember what it was called? You might not.
No,
Mr. Sparkle.
Mr. Sparkle. Oh
So
my
I don't know if you
God.
can see that here.
This Funko is amazing.
It's literally the logo, and he's holding like in his. You can't really see a hand, but that little pink. But it's hard to see here. Let me show you the
That's
side.
beautiful.
See that the little box of Mr. Sparkle, the detergent.
Yeah.
That is what it is, and then it's
Wait,
the
so is
logo.
that, let me see. So I'm looking at the Funko. Is that a limited edition? It has a sticker on it.
Diamond Collection previews exclusive.
So it's a previous exclusive.
One four
That's
six seven. You know what's
awesome.
funny is a lot of the Funkos usually have like 5 or 6 others on the back that it's in the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
group, and
That
this is
one's
a
by
standalone.
itself.
Yeah.
So what's interesting, I'm looking at that Funko, that the side of Homer's head has like the lines like a Peanuts character, like Charlie
Yep. Like
Brown.
his little
Is that
hair.
like kind of like Charlie Brown like
Yeah, it
ish?
is.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
What
isn't
an
that a good
awesome
one?
Funko.
I
So
had a feeling you'd like that.
do you put your Funkos in like these display cases?
In
Or how do you display your Funkos? We'll have to go through that sometime.
Yeah, so I have so many of them, but I have a bunch of them that I'm starting to put out, and I've got a bunch of them still in the box. I think ultimately, as long as you keep the boxes and keep them in good condition, I
I
think
agree.
it's probably okay that you can put them out as long as they're not in harm's way and
I
you
think
can put them
so.
back into the box after.
I can't wait to take a tour of the Funko Land in Charlie's house next month. It's gonna be good. I love it, love it. That was a great unboxing. I'm gonna have to flip the switch at some point, and I'm looking around my room, and I'll have something for you. I said that last episode, but I will have an unboxing. A lot of stuff I've told you about already, so it's not gonna be an unboxing. I'll have to pull something out of the.
You'll find something. We'll make it
Oh,
work.
I trust me, I have them. Dude, this was so much fun this episode. Thank you for
This was great.
thank
And
as
if you
much as we
haven't seen Survivor yet, please watch it. And please then add your comments to what you feel about so many of the interesting things that happened.
yeah, please leave your comments on our YouTube link or in where a podcast is posted. We love your comments. And coming up in the next couple of weeks, I think we're going to do a contest because I have so much stuff that I could give away. So maybe we'll do a contest coming up and just see what kind of engagement we're getting. And
I love
love
that.
that. Yeah. But for this week, this has been a fun episode, buddy. I always love chatting with you, and this is a great opportunity for us to catch up every weekend. We're happy to record a podcast along with it. So thanks, man.
That was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Definitely. This is Around the Bases, the pop culture and sports podcast, and we'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Until then, hope you have an awesome week. Take care and be well and be kind to yourself. See you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.